Longest winning run since 2018 with 10 victories, 7 clean sheets, and we heap the praise on Arsenal week after week in terms of their attack, and we talk about their set pieces, but you're going to look at their attack today through a different prism.
Yeah, we've analysed Declan Rice this season, who's outstanding again today. We've looked at Gyökeres. Obviously, defensively, we've looked at them and they're rock solid.
They're looking really, really strong all over the pitch and off the pitch with the people who they've got on the bench.
After 5,000 minutes of watching Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, I've realized something. They don't play like a team chasing moments anymore. They play like a team chasing control. Every pass has a purpose. Every press feels rehearsed. Every silence between attacks means something. They hold the ball. They smother space. They create just enough to win almost every game. And yet, somehow, it never feels like they attack enough. People say Arsenal are very good at keeping the ball, never concede chances, and create just enough to win pretty much every game. But it still feels like they, Arsenal, don't attack enough across 90 minutes. In plain terms, there is a lack of sustained aggressiveness in their style. Arsenal replies with territory, patience, and rehearsed damage. People say it won't last. The tape says otherwise. That's the paradox. A team so dominant, so disciplined, so precise, that even their brilliance can feel restrained. But that's where Arteta's genius or gamble lives. This version of Arsenal isn't built for chaos. It's built to suffocate it. So we're breaking it down. How control became their identity, and why the line between composure and aggression might decide everything. This is Arteta's Arsenal, and after what we've just seen in October and at Turf Moor, it's time to look deeper. When Mikel Arteta returned to North London in December 2019, Arsenal weren't just a club in transition, they were a club searching for meaning. The Emirates was quiet, the football uncertain, the confidence fractured, and when Arteta stepped in, many expected a copy of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. After all, he was the apprentice stepping into his first managerial role, carrying the tactical DNA of his former mentor. But what he built wasn't imitation, it was adaptation. The early years were about survival. Arsenal couldn't dominate with the ball, so they learned to dominate without it. The first version of Arteta's team was compact, disciplined, and reactive, more concerned with shutting down counterattacks than dazzling with possession. The metrics told a story: fewer passes, deeper lines, more emphasis on control between the lines. It wasn't exciting, but it was deliberate. Arsenal were learning the habits of resilience. Once the defensive platform was stable, the second phase began. Arteta started shaping a team that could control tempo through structure. He introduced the inverted fullback, the build-up box, and positional discipline in every third of the pitch. Suddenly, Arsenal weren't reacting to games. They were dictating them. Players like Zinchenko, Partey, and Odegaard became central to that plan, moving the ball in triangles, collapsing pressure, creating superiority in midfield zones. The patterns looked Guardiola-esque at first glance, but the purpose was different. City used possession to attack faster. Arteta used it to suffocate chaos. From that moment, Arteta began sculpting a model where domination wasn't about possession alone, but about territory, control, and repeatable mechanics. The following season, the numbers quietly shifted. Arsenal pressed less often, but pressed smarter. Their share of possession dipped, but their share of clean sheets climbed. They became the most efficient team in the league at recovering the ball within 8 seconds of losing it. Set pieces, once an afterthought, became a strategic weapon under Nicolas Jover. Arsenal weren't chasing beauty anymore, they were chasing margins. By 2024, the team had grown into its own shape. The structure was no longer a borrowed idea, it was distinct. Arsenal built with 3, defended with 5, and attacked with 5. The positional rotation was constant yet calculated. Rice stepping higher, Odegaard drifting to the half space, Martinelli holding width until the overlap was triggered. Every line moved in unison, and the spaces between them became smaller, tighter, more deliberate. The team that once bled under pressure was now built to apply it. And that's the real story of Arteta's Arsenal, not transformation by signing, transformation by structure, a model refined one phase at a time. First came the discipline to survive, then the confidence to control, then the balance to sustain it over 90 minutes. Today, when Arsenal play, the chaos that once defined them has disappeared. In its place stands something colder, more intelligent, and infinitely harder to play against. A football machine that attacks by defending space and defends by owning it. This isn't Pep's student mimicking his master anymore. This is a coach who studied the game deeply enough to write his own version. And that's why, when we stepped into October 2025, The month Arsenal stopped answering questions and started asking their own. It finally feels like the years of trial, failure, and refinement have crystallized into one idea: control. To understand what Arsenal are in 2025, you have to stop looking at their formation on paper and start looking at their structure on the pitch. Because what Arteta has built isn't a 4-3-3 or a 3-2-5. It's a living system, one that morphs and breathes with the rhythm of each match. When Arsenal have the ball, the base begins as a 3. Ricardo Calafiori tucks inside from left back, William Saliba and Gabriel hold the central line, and together they form the platform for everything that follows. Ahead of them, Martin Zubimendi becomes the metronome, the first receiver, the calm in the storm. His positioning allows Arsenal to play through pressure without panic. He opens passing lanes with subtle body angles, inviting opponents to press before slicing through the gap. Next to him, Declan Rice is no longer chained to the number 6 zone. Arteta has given him freedom. Freedom to surge, to attack the half spaces, to step into the box when the moment appears. When Zubimendi drops, Rice rises. It's the pendulum that drives Arsenal's balance. That dynamic has quietly become the heartbeat of their control. One sits, one moves, one dictates. In front of them, Martin Odegaard operates between the lines as the timing mechanism. His movement isn't random, it's patterned. He drifts toward the right half space, drawing markers out of shape and opening corridors for Bukayo Saka to isolate defenders one-on-one. The connection between Odegaard and Saka remains one of the most rehearsed sequences in the Premier League, a one-touch triangle that starts in midfield and ends with the ball flashing across the 6-yard box. But where Arsenal have truly evolved is on the opposite flank. The left side is no longer predictable. Eberechi Eze has added something the team lacked last year: gravity. When he carries the ball, defenders lean toward him, and that tilt changes everything. It releases Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli to cut inside, it pulls Rice into scoring zones, and it forces opposition fullbacks to make impossible decisions. Easy's contribution isn't just technical, it's geometric. He alters the shape of the game. Then there's the number 9. Victor Gyökeres isn't a traditional poacher nor a false 9. He's a hybrid built for modern Premier League football, relentless in his press, ruthless in his movement, selfless in his runs. His timing at the near post has turned Arsenal's corners and cutbacks into predictable weapons. 12 of Arsenal's goals this season have come from set-piece or second-phase situations, a direct product of his movement and the routines engineered by Nikola Jover, the set-piece coach whose influence is now impossible to ignore. Arteta's Arsenal have become specialists in repetition. They don't improvise their dominance, they rehearse it. Their training ground work revolves around the same questions every week. How do we keep the ball when pressed? How do we trap the opponent when it breaks? How do we score without losing shape? Every player knows the cues. When the ball is lost, the first reaction isn't panic, it's positioning. The nearest 3 swarm the ball, the rest form a shell behind. That's the rest defense. 3 defenders plus a midfielder holding the fort while everyone else presses. That structure is why Arsenal concede fewer shots than any team in the league. Through October, opponents averaged barely 0.6 expected goals per match against them, and at Burnley on November 1st, they didn't face a single shot on target. These aren't statistics built on luck, they're built on layers. Saliba's anticipation, Gabriel's aggression, Zubimendi's screening, and the collective understanding that if the press fails, the recovery begins immediately. Another evolution lies in how Arsenal manage game states. When they take the lead, the system doesn't loosen, it tightens. Instead of chasing a second goal in chaos, they protect the first through control. Possession becomes territory management, passes go wider, distances shorten, and tempo drops without losing threat. It's what Opta now labels as game state dominance, the ability to dictate the speed of a match once ahead. Arsenal lead the Premier League in that metric, and it shows. Set pieces, once viewed as a safety net, have become part of Arsenal's identity. 11 goals from corners and indirect free kicks as of early November, more than any top 5 European club in that span. But they're not simply swinging crosses. Each routine has a trigger: decoy runners to clear the zone, Gabriel or Gyökeres attacking the near post, Rice crashing late for rebounds. Jover and Arteta have made dead balls feel alive. And when the rhythm slows, Arsenal's patience isn't passive, it's predatory. They circulate until the opponent's press loses discipline, then strike through the lane that opens. It might look cautious to the neutral eye. The viral tweet says they don't attack enough across 90 minutes. Now, but that's the paradox of this Arsenal. Their aggression is invisible. It's hidden in their positioning, in how they move opponents rather than chasing them. They don't flood forward recklessly. They drain the resistance slowly until the game belongs entirely to them. From back to front, everything is interconnected. The back three gives the pivot space. The pivot gives the eights rhythm. The wingers give the striker width. And when it clicks, Arsenal don't just dominate, they suffocate. That's why they can spend entire halves camped 30 yards from the opponent's goal without appearing frantic. It's not a lack of ambition, it's control disguised as calm. This is what Mikel Arteta has built, a team that turns football into a kind of choreography, where every trigger, every trap, every delayed run exists for a reason. The critics can debate whether it's aggressive enough, but the scoreboard keeps repeating the same story. Arsenal win, Arsenal keep clean sheets, and Arsenal dictate how long the game breathes. It's not the football of chaos anymore, it's the football of calculation. And in a league obsessed with moments, Arsenal have mastered momentum. For all the structure, all the symmetry, all the tactical blueprints drawn on a whiteboard, systems only come alive when players interpret them perfectly. Arsenal's transformation under Mikel Arteta isn't just about patterns on the pitch, it's about personalities that sustain them. At the heart of that framework stands Gabriel, the silent spine of Arsenal's defense. He isn't just a center back, he's the stabilizer that allows everyone else to take risks. Over the past 2 seasons, no Arsenal player has started more league matches than him. His partnership with William Saliba is now one of the most reliable in European football. The left-footed balance to Saliba's calm precision. Gabriel defends space like a center back from another era, aggressive in duels, fearless in the air, and relentless in body positioning. But his importance goes far beyond defending. In possession, Gabriel's diagonal passes break the first line of the press. Out of possession, his presence makes the back line asymmetric. When Calafiori inverts into midfield, Gabriel slides wider and becomes both a left back and a center back at once. A role that demands awareness, timing, and courage. And on set pieces, his impact is extraordinary. Gabriel scores goals for Arsenal, particularly through headers, often from corners and indirect free kicks. As of late 2024, he has scored 18 Premier League goals for Arsenal and 22 senior career goals in total, including a standout 2021-22 campaign where he netted 5 league goals. Remarkably, every single one of his Premier League goals has come from set pieces. That record makes him not only a defensive cornerstone, but also a consistent attacking outlet, the embodiment of Arteta's belief that structure can hurt opponents at both ends of the pitch. His brace against Atletico Madrid in October was no accident. Those routines were engineered on the training ground. Gabriel is now as vital to Arsenal's attacking strategy as he is to their defensive resilience. Just ahead of him operates Martin Zubimendi, the player who has quietly rewritten how Arsenal build from deep. Watching him is like watching calmness in motion. He never sprints to receive the ball, he arrives. Always on the half turn, always scanning, always making the next pass easier for the man who follows. What Thomas Partey once did in bursts, Zubimendi does in rhythm. His role is about creating stability through predictability. When he drops between the center backs, the shape breathes. When he steps up alongside Rice, the tempo changes. His precision, over 90% passing accuracy through October, means Arsenal can play through the press without losing identity. Then there's Declan Rice, the embodiment of Arsenal's modern aggression. He's not just a ball winner, he's a territorial marker. The zone he covers on the pitch is staggering, from the edge of his own box to the opponent's penalty area in seconds. Rice is the reason Arsenal can defend high and still recover low. When he moves forward, the press tightens. When he drops back, the block locks. At Burnley, he did both, scoring 1 header, winning back 12 recoveries, and dictating tempo like a conductor who never misses a beat. Together, Zubimendi and Rice form a pivot that gives Arsenal options in every phase. One plays vertical, the other horizontal. One provokes pressure, the other punishes it. It's why Arsenal can dominate territory even when possession looks even. The ball isn't just moved, it's managed. Ahead of them, Martin Odegaard remains the emotional core of the system, even when unavailable through injury. His fingerprints are on Arsenal's build-up patterns. His half-space positioning on the right is a permanent reference point for the team. When he plays, Arsenal attack with coordination. When he's absent, they attack with structure, but less imagination. His ability to draw pressure, slip disguised passes into Saka, and trigger the counter-press seconds after losing the ball defines Arteta's idea of intelligent control. On the left, Eberechi Eze has changed perception. Arsenal's play once tilted too heavily to the right. Predictable, easy to read. Eze fixed that imbalance not just by adding dribbling flair, but by creating hesitation in defenders. When he receives the ball, he holds it just long enough to make opponents commit, then drives diagonally into the box. That pause is priceless. It gives Rice and Martinelli the extra second to arrive in scoring positions. In the past, Arsenal's left side lacked personality. Now it has one built on rhythm, deception, and bravery. Up front, Victor Gyökeres represents the missing piece Arteta had chased for 3 seasons. A forward who doesn't just finish moves, but starts them. His work rate is unrelenting, his pressing angles precise. Gyökeres' runs aren't random, they're coordinated triggers for the entire front line. When he presses the center back, Saka and Eze cut passing lanes. Rice steps up, and Arsenal lock the opponent in. In attack, he brings the chaos Arteta allows in controlled doses. Constant movement, near-post sprints, and blindside timing. His 2 goals against Atletico and opener at Burnley captured exactly why Arsenal signed him. 1 chance, 1 finish. Minimal drama. And behind it all, there's a layer most fans overlook. The unsung components of control. David Raya's calm distribution, William Saliba's anticipation, Timber and Calafiori's inverted discipline, Nurgaard's late-game composure. Each fits a specific piece of Arteta's puzzle. No one player stands apart. Everyone functions as part of the mechanism. Yet, if there's one figure who personifies Arsenal's evolution more than any other, it's Gabriel Magalhaes. Every time the ball enters Arsenal's defensive third, he sets the tone. Not by shouting, but by commanding. His aggression makes Saliba's calmness possible. His bravery makes Arteta's system sustainable. When Arsenal celebrate clean sheets, it's Gabriel who embodies their shift from fragility to conviction. This is the essence of Arteta's Arsenal, a side built not on stars, but on synchrony. Each role refined, each responsibility rehearsed. The tactics might draw the blueprint, but it's the individuals. Gabriel anchoring the line, Zubimendi setting the rhythm, Rice driving the engine, Eze bending space, Gyökeres punishing detail, who make the structure breathe, and together they've created a team that doesn't chase games anymore, they dictate them.
Scored 2 goals, probably should have scored another 2 or 3. We give nothing away, and that was a platform to win it, because in the second half it's true that we weren't that precise, especially with the ball. We had to make a few changes, and yeah, we didn't have that much control of the game.
5 games, 3 competitions, no defeats, and the more you watched, the clearer it became. This version of Arsenal wins through structure, repetition, and quiet authority. No matter who stands across from them, the rhythm never changes. It began with a calm statement at the Emirates, a 2-0 win over West Ham that wasn't about revenge or emotion. It was dominance through design. From the first whistle, Arsenal built their rhythm with a 3-2 rest shape. Calafiori stepping inside, Zubimendi pulling the strings at the base, and Rice pushing a line higher to hunt second balls. Every pass pulled West Ham deeper until the inevitable happened. A recycled corner, rehearsed to perfection, found Declan Rice ghosting into space to slot home against his former club. Saka added a penalty to seal it, but the real story was what came after. Total suffocation without losing structure. Even after Odegaard's early injury, the team didn't flinch. Every rotation, every press trigger, every defensive reset stayed precise. It wasn't explosive, it was methodical. The apprentice who once mimicked Pep had finally become his own kind of master. Then came Fulham away, a different kind of test. Craven Cottage, where beautiful football usually goes to die. The pitch was tight, the rain constant, the home crowd close enough to feel their breath. But Arsenal never panicked. They passed, circled, waited. And when the moment came, it looked like something drawn on a whiteboard. A short corner routine, a disguised angle, Martinelli's decoy run, and Trossard's near post finish. 1-0, simple, cold, professional. What followed said even more. more. In the final 10 minutes, Arsenal didn't retreat or waste time. They compressed space, managed rhythm, and squeezed hope out of the game. The kind of calm that only comes from a team that truly understands control. But perhaps the biggest statement came under the European lights, at the Emirates, against Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid, a team built to suffocate others. Arsenal flipped the script. From minute 1, they turned the masters of control into the ones chasing shadows. Calafiori tucked in to form a 3-2 base. Zubimendi baited the first press. Rice advanced into the half space, and the wingers pinned their markers wide. The geometry was perfect. 2 headers from Gabriel Magalhaes and 2 ruthless Gyökeres finishes turned the night into a tactical clinic. Atletico hadn't conceded 4 in a single game since 2017. Arsenal made it look inevitable, and it wasn't just the scoreline, it was the repeatability. The same runs, the same triggers, the same set-piece choreography. Arsenal had evolved from idealists into executioners. 4 days later, another London derby, this time Crystal Palace. They came with energy, pressing high, trying to disrupt the rhythm, but Arsenal stayed calm. Their winner came again from structure, a recycled corner that fell to Eberechi Eze, who volleyed home beautifully. From there, Arsenal managed the match like professionals. No chase for a second, no frantic defending. Palace had possession spells, but not a single big chance. Arsenal dictated not just the ball, but where the ball could even exist. By the end of the month came Brighton in the EFL Cup, a rotated lineup, but the same precision. Once upon a time, rotation meant weakness. Not anymore. Arteta rested key starters, gave minutes to Ethan Nwaneri and Piero Hincapié, and the team still played like clockwork. The press triggered the same way, the triangles pulsed with the same rhythm, the spacing never broke. Nwaneri and Saka scored, but the real victory was deeper. The system had become cultural. Players changed, but the football didn't. And then came Turf Moor, the place where football turns into a fight. Tight pitch, cold wind, long balls, scrappy seconds. For most sides, it's chaos. For Arsenal, it was just another demonstration. From the opening minutes, Arsenal imposed their geometry. 70% possession in the first 5 minutes. Rest defense already in position. Lines synchronized. Burnley couldn't breathe. And then came the breakthrough. A corner from Rice. A deflection. Gyökeres quickest to react. 1-0. Silence across Turf Moor. The second was almost a mirror. Another corner, another Rice delivery, another header, this time by the man himself, Declan Rice. Commanding, decisive, ruthless. After halftime, Arsenal didn't push for more. They controlled. Marino came on to stabilize, the lines compressed, and Burnley finished with 0 shots on target. Arsenal walked away with another clean sheet, another example of control over chaos. It wasn't flashy, but it was complete. Across October and into November, the thread connecting everything became clear. The 3-2 build-up base, Zubimendi baiting and bypassing pressure, Rice stepping forward to claim second balls, 5-lane occupation in attack, stretching every defensive line, and rest defense locking down transitions before they even start. And at both ends of the pitch, Gabriel Magalhaes, defending like a wall, scoring like a striker, the heartbeat of both boxes. Set pieces aren't luck anymore, they're design. Gabriel's 18 Premier League goals from dead balls aren't coincidence. They're the product of endless drills with Nicolas Jover turning corners into weapons. By the time the whistle blew at Turf Moor, Arsenal were 9 games unbeaten, had conceded only 2 goals all month, and recorded back-to-back matches without facing a single shot on target, something they hadn't done since 2003. The conclusion is simple. Arsenal don't win through chaos anymore. They win through control. Every movement, every pause, every set piece is calculated. This system doesn't chase emotion. It absorbs it, slows it, and turns it into structure. This isn't Pep's shadow anymore. This is Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, a team that wins the game before the opponent even realizes it's begun. After 5,000 minutes of watching Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, one thing has become clear. This team has stopped trying to prove a point and started proving a pattern. The chaos is gone. The panic is gone. In its place stands control, calculated, rehearsed, and relentless. The statistics support it. Lowest XG conceded in England, among the highest expected goals created, and a league-leading press efficiency rate. But the real proof isn't in the numbers, it's in the calm. Watch their body language when they score. There's no explosion, no chaos, just a nod between players who have rehearsed this exact moment 100 times before, because that's what Arsenal have become, a football team that treats consistency like a weapon. If you've made it this far, you already understand it. This isn't the Arsenal people argue about on social media. This is the real one, a team that defends space like gold, attacks moments like mathematics, and plays football that might just be quietly the most intelligent in Europe. So maybe the story of Arteta's Arsenal isn't about reinventing football. It's about proving that control, done right, is beautiful enough on its own.